Welcome back, folks, to the Stockwell Eldridge Show. I'm Jason with Remax.
And I'm Dawn with Remax.
And Stephanie Havel with Wells Fargo Home Mortgage.
If you're just joining us, we were talking about some stories about some real-life things that are happening in the marketplace right now.
And we got stories, right?
Lots of things. And
it's a little bit of a battlefield out there, I feel like, at times.
Right now, yeah, it seems like it is, where you get buyers that are paying a good price, so they want a lot for that, and they're starting to kind of push back a little bit on the price and also maybe on their inspection items, where they're not just folding and saying, yes,
yep.
we'll take everything. And
I had an inspection that just happened, and I've been a realtor going on 14 years. 2-page amendment, 57 items of correction. And they were not big things. They were like little kind of things that actually, some of the things weren't even there. So it's kind of, when you get an inspection report, sometimes that inspector just puts a catch-all phrase in there just to protect himself in case he missed something. And that was what a lot of it was. But I was floored. 2004 build house. I mean...
Well, and that's a good point, because I just had to deal with a customer yesterday on her purchase. She had a home inspector done. The roof was, the inspector said, well, it's okay. It's got a couple years left on it. It's not good, but I don't think you'll have any problems. Well, then the appraiser went out, and the appraiser said that it's got about a 1 to 2 year life on it. So just know, then Wells Fargo internal said it's got less than 2 years. We're going to require that roof to be replaced. So she was really upset. She said, well, my inspector said I didn't need a new roof, so I thought I was good. And neither did my realtor said, oh, yeah, it's fine. You're going conventional financing. Don't worry about it.
Could they get a roofer out there to give a expert opinion ever in that kind of scenario? Or
well, if the appraiser, they take pictures, and if he clearly put on there it has a 1 to 2 year, I mean, they could have fought it, but again, that's more money they're going to have to spend,
right?
To get opinion for what they probably know is true. But just so that you know, also, I mean, the home inspector, and we've had Don Doty on here many times, but the lender will review that appraiser. So just know that. Although the inspector says, yeah, it looks good, if the appraiser doesn't share that opinion and takes pictures of it and makes a note out of it, that's really what's going to be the letter of the law. And so, I mean, they required the sellers to put on a new roof, and...
Well, it worked out.
Hey,
well, that's what I told her as a buyer.
Good.
Like, don't be mad at your lender. She was angry with us.
That's good news when it actually works out like that, because sometimes you might get a seller who doesn't want to do that and won't do that.
Right.
And then then the deal's dead and cancels, and they got to find a new house. The other thing about inspections I'll point out is that, Dawn, your case, it sounds like when there's 57 items, and I've had this happen too, where they basically send the inspection report, the whole report.
Yep.
And 5 pages, or some of them are longer, whatever, and basically say, see the report and fix everything on the report. And it's like, well, no, that's...
They send that to the seller?
Yes.
No,
the buyer's agent will send it over and say, hey, we want all this stuff done. It's like, well,
yeah.
It's like you said, some of the things are just general items, like hey,
replace a light bulb,
or no, like have your furnace checked out by a certified person. Some people want to do that. Yeah, I get that. But they have all kinds of other things, and even if you're buying a new house, Don Doty will say that too. He can go into a brand new constructed house that got completed yesterday, and he'll have a report, and he'll have items on that report.
I do that all the time with him, and it's true. He does. He finds stuff. Well, and the other thing,
so you can't. You got to be realistic. Okay, you're moving into a house that's probably older. It's not perfect. What are the items that are really important? As in, if they are so bad, that you would not want to live there, or you can't buy that house, you can't live with those items. Those are the main ones you want to do.
Right. And here's the other thing that they did, which, keep in mind that it's an inspection. It doesn't involve personal property. They added in about 10 items of furniture on that inspection amendment,
saying
that they wanted it included in the sale price. Yeah. And I'm like, that's not the time to negotiate those items.
Right.
Yeah, sometimes people just like
you don't
to
want
negotiate.
personal property on a purchase agreement either, right?
I know.
We'll call the
all got to be on the side.
It all depends upon your type of negotiating style, and some people negotiate all the way up to the final walkthrough. They'll be negotiating on the way to the closing, trying to get something else,
Right.
or at the closing table. I've had that happen where people start trying, like, I'm not signing this, and they start negotiating right then, or they want to negotiate right then and there. Again, that's why you need an agent, because imagine you're on imagine you do an online transaction.
agent.
You buy a house online, and I buy them from Dawn, and I'm that type that is going to negotiate all the way to the end, and we're trying to sell directly, and your house is your house, so you're emotionally tied to it. I'm a buyer. I'm spending money on it. I'm emotional. How well do you think that's going to go?
Well, exactly.
When there's one-on-one.
If you're with Quicken and Rocket Mortgage, what are you going to do? Push the button and rock it to your loan officer and say, "Hey, we got an amendment to our PA. Now we need to change our loan amount." That doesn't just happen.
If they could
online.
really make it, here's what I would propose to Amazon and Redfin and Rocket and all these places that are doing online, and they want to do it online. If you could make it like the stock market, maybe they're trying to go that way, but if you could make it so I could go online, I can click on Apple at whatever it is a share and click buy and get it that moment and be done and closed. If they could do that in real estate, then it'd be something very, very powerful, right?
Right.
But that's a long way coming because there's so much title. There's a lot more legwork going into the real estate and the title.
And I think
and
the technology. I mean, even speaking about cars, I had a friend of mine just looking at buying used cars. They got Carfax, so they can see where the car came. Was the car ever in had flood damage or anything like that? So that's where I think the technology.
Here's how you do it:
going
pre-inspection on your house.
What if we have like house facts?
Yeah, you can click on it.
Yeah.
Your title work's already done, and you can close on it that day that you want it. Imagine that.
Right.
Wire the funds from your bank. The loan officer and everybody, or the lender, can have it all one. Now, if they can come up with that system, I think then it will work. Then the online will work.
Well, and I think there will be those. I mean, you watch those $1 million listings.
Dawn, will that happen in our lifetime?
No.
You don't think so?
No. But I was
Why? Because
gonna
there's
say,
too many old fogies like us that are pushing the system back, so we can't advance it into a system like that, or what?
Well, there still are people that don't even use computers that are still alive.
Yeah,
and
true.
so, yes.
Well, yeah, but you're talking like 5-10 years. But I mean, you watch that show, $1 Million Listing. I mean, they've got people that, foreign buyers, and they have agents
don't see
that,
the house,
right?
yeah.
They trust the person to go out
the
and buy
agent,
the
or they have their own personal representative or something
right,
like that.
that goes in and buys the house for them. So, yeah, I don't think technology is going to completely replace our industry, but same thing with us is right now we take a lot of applications, obviously over the phone and in person, but it may move to where it's more of an online application, and then we just kind of cross the T's and dot the I's, which is okay, because... But that's the point, is we still need to be there to cross those T's and dot those I's and make sure, because just like with Quicken, we hear it all the time, they submit these online applications or, I'm pre-approved. Well, what the application didn't capture is that they, they're self-employed for 2 years, but they write everything off, or they're an LLC and, different things like that.
Well, I've seen closings happen in as short as 2 weeks. So that tells me I'm looking for the day where you can click a button online on an auction site or whatever, buy the house and close that day. Like that, if that would be amazing. I know that some closings, cash closings, have happened.
Well, TRID laws or whatever, your Rust Belt laws, you can't.
Yeah, there's
close
too
within
much
7 days
regulation,
anyways,
government, and county, and
It's
all
Trump's
that stuff in
fault.
there, but
also clear the title.
It's Trump's fault.
They have to make
It's all
sure it's
Trump's
clear. So in Minnesota, we're not able to close unless the title is clear. And I think a lot of people don't know that.
Is the requirement.
Yep.
7 days is the earliest that you could close on a loan.
And I think a lot of people don't know, because I get asked that as a lot of first-time home buyers. They're like, well, what if there's something wrong with the title? Well, that's what you pay the title company for. They're going to make sure it's clear, and you cannot close until the title is clear.
Right. And people do need to ask, even on title, like, this is a little bit off topic, but we were saying, like, with refinances, we just had it happen last week where it was on a refinance, and we found out that the customer was married. And so, you can purchase, if you're a married couple, you can purchase this 1 to buy, 2 to sell, and sell or / refi.
Yeah.
So, whatever your situation is, and we see it all the time in divorce situations, well, I don't want them on there. Well, then you need to get divorced. You cannot refinance your house. If you are married, you cannot refinance your house without your spouse's consent and signatures and authorizations on those documents. There's just no way. And so if we ask if you're married, and then if you are legally married, whether you want to be or not, you do need to answer the question.
There's been a lot
properly.
of stories on that one too.
Yeah.
People signing for their spouse. I've seen. I mean,
Well, or, you know, we have a.
Well, that authentic sign, I
horrible.
mean,
Well, you get that we had a dad who's co-signing for the daughter, but the dad is married, and so then do we need the moms or the wife, because she's the wife of the dad who's on the purchase and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah,
there's
it
all
can
kinds
be.
and that's why we talk about just having an expert. I mean, and really full disclosure.
yeah. Well, and as an agent, I get asked a lot of questions about the lending process, and I always divert to the lender. That is a lender question.
Right.
You need to talk to the expert. I am a real estate expert. Your lender is a mortgage expert.
And
They
don't
can
go
walk you
online
through
to
it.
get your answer. I
Right.
mean, and if you can't, I mean, that's my job. If you can't get a hold of your loan officer, then you should be calling their manager, and you should know who that person's manager is. I send out an email, and to every single one of my customers, my employee, my team members' customers, letting them know that if you're not getting the service that you want or the feedback that you want, then you need to be contacting me. So
Yep.
it's always important. Yeah, and ask questions.
Yes.
Sometimes people say, I had a couple last week, their loan officers on vacation, so I met with them in person, and I had all kinds of questions. And homeowners insurance, well, they called their insurance agent, and they're like, okay, what's the square footage, and does this have this? And they're like looking at me with a panic look because they had no idea about all these questions about the house they were buying. And I said, ask them to clarify what that means. So make sure, you're always using an expert. I can't talk today. An expert, and ask us the questions. But call me, Stephanie Havel, 612-940-7335. You can go to stephaniehavel.com, and I will answer all your financing questions.
And folks, go to the Facebook page, Stockwell Eldridge Show, for more information on past shows, other guests and clients, and any resources that you need. And then you can always comment on there or email in on there if you need anything. We've had some people do that for contacts for past guests. And you can always call us as well at 651-400-0773. Stay tuned, folks. We'll be back with more.
It's closing time.